Sunset and Burning Leaves by Reverend Shusei. Chapter 12. I alone am noble. These words, spoken by the Buddha at the time of his birth, not only prophesied his enlightenment, they also bespeak the essential nature of all things. It was the suffering and anxiety evidenced in the people all around him that prompted the Buddha to seek a way to liberation which all people might follow. He developed within himself that spark of wisdom and compassion which is inherent in all men and women, the reflected light which emanates from the great compassionate heart of the universal Buddha mind. In the first moments of his enlightenment, the Buddha saw himself as all humankind. He knew himself to be one with the great and eternal universal scheme, which is inclusive of all that is. As the Great Awakening enveloped his being, he realized yet a higher aspect of truth, that the great universal scheme, which is inclusive of all things, was one with him. Thus, even at birth, he who opened his mouth and gave forth the cry which we translate as, I alone am noble, was not Gautama Siddhartha, but rather was the universal Buddha mind. Down through the ages, all that has being has shared in the Buddha's wonderful awakening, for at that moment of enlightenment he took us all in. The triumph of one man is the triumph of all. Before the world was conceived, its hope lay in Buddha. In this age of great sorrows and disasters, Buddha, the light of the world, is still our hope and triumph. Due to the boundless love and ceaseless efforts of one man, we are able to know that we are one with the great compassionate heart of Amida Buddha. In Buddha is the oneness of all life. All sorrow and joy, all triumph and defeat are contained within the great compassionate heart. Saint Shinran Shonin, out of his profound realization, has said of this oneness, quote, Though I, my life having run its course, return to the pure land of eternal rest, I shall come back to earth again and again, even as the waves of Wakano-ura Bay. When you rejoice alone in the sacred teachings, believe that there are two. And when there are two to rejoice, believe that there are three. And that other will be Shinran. Chapter 13. What is the nature of this world in which I live? The nature of this world is my own nature. The only world is that which I create in my own mind. Such a flood of stimuli is ceaselessly pouring in upon my mind. All phenomena are filling me up at every moment with the seeds of experience, and it is I who create the world from all these seeds. Destroy my mind, take me from the life picture, and there is no world anymore. Because I am a creature of the world, indeed the universe, is dependent upon me for its nature and form. If I maintain a warlike mind, the world will be a place of war and disaster, because it will be the seeds of war and turmoil that I shall have singled out in my mind and brought forth as the face of the world. If I single out the seeds of passion and unfulfilled desires, I shall create a world fraught with passion and desire. And at every hand I shall ceaselessly create objects with which to attempt to satisfy my cravings. If I hold up the seeds of persecution and distrust, then I shall forever be creating the world as a place of suspicion, in which all people are engaged in a vendetta against me. Knowing these things to be so, my first inclination might be to seek to become an incarnation of total peace. I might seek to be utterly desireless and to eliminate all sense of passion. I might seek to become trusting of everyone and to only see the good in those who would be offensive. These are perhaps the first reactions of all who experience the first stirrings of their spiritual natures. They are good first thoughts, which of themselves can lead to a great measure of spiritual peace. The creation of such a utopian world is not possible, however, because it calls for the development of only certain seeds of experience and the storing away or repression of others. Whatever their nature, the seeds of experience cannot be disregarded as though they were not there at all. The mind's creation of a utopian world is impossible, because the seeds that would give birth to such a world are only a fraction of the multitude of seeds which are present each instant in the consciousness. While existing as an incarnate being, one is bound to manifest a world born of discrimination. Yet the Dharma lays great stress on the necessity of transcending all discrimination and dichotomy if enlightenment is to be realized. If we must exist as creatures of discrimination, where is there any room for transcendency? Where is salvation to be found? The answer lies in the true meaning of transcendency as it applies to the teaching of the Buddha. To transcend the element of the mind is not to destroy the element or to repress it beneath a layer of other elements. Buddhist transcendency means realizing or becoming totally aware of the true nature of the element itself. Through walking the way of Buddha, we do not destroy the mind together with its many facets. Instead, we come to a realization of the true nature of the mind as the interpreter of all phenomena. To do this is to acknowledge the myriad seeds of experience which are ever present in the consciousness. We acknowledge them and know them for what they are and from whence they arise. In this way, the discriminating mind ceases to be the master of the person and becomes the tool with which he applies the workings of the higher mind, the intuitive mind, to his life. Ultimately, there is only one mind, which is the mind of Buddha. However, in the realm of relativity, wherein we are incarnate and are one with the experiential realm of the earth, we must speak of two minds. Thus, it may be seen that the cosmos is mind-created. The discerning disciple who realizes the oneness of all things in mind will not hesitate to receive all stimuli, and he will create a world that is just so, a world of suchness, using all the seeds of phenomena to develop the world just as it is. Knowing that the true Dharma of all Dharmas, which are one with himself, are just so, or tathata, he will create the world in perfect accord with the great cosmic mandala. Upon seeing the cosmic mandala as tathata, and the mandala as one with himself, the disciple dies unto himself, and the mandala alone remains, perfect and complete, and eternally folding back upon itself.